Today, I have a blanket and 2 blocks and resistance bands. Some of you have a small loop. Some of you have a long loop, a figure 8, and a small loop. When you don't have a figure 8 and you have a flat band, you can wrap the flat band around the hands and have the length that you wish. And some folks like to go between them, and really they are interchangeable. And if you wanted to implement the small loop, you could always make a loop in your flat band. We're going to balance the pushing and the pulling actions today. If you'll start this way, lace your fingers and turn the palms and round in the spine, invite cat pose into your body. Exhale. And then, if you will, lift the arms and straighten the spine, turn the palms toward the ceiling. Notice how the shoulder blades lift. Don't make it a miserable place. Just get a stretch that gets your attention, and then return. Change the lacing, round, exhale, strong abdominals, any amount of flexion. As you stack the spine, as you lift, everything lifts. The arms help to lengthen space in the torso. Now, let's make the feet wide and let's change how we are creating space in the wrist through to the neck. I want to turn the palms so that they face each other, and I'm going to lace my fingers. So my palms facing each other. So sometimes I'll explain it this way. If you'll turn your palms down and then turn them toward each other and bring your hands together and lace the fingers. Okay. And keep it loose. Bring the hands in, drop the elbows, lengthen the neck, and just notice what you can do. If you need to let go a little bit, let go a little bit. Make it looser. We're giving space to the traction for the wrists and the knuckles, the fingers, and the neck, and the elbows. So before we give this away, I want to notice, can I send my hands forward? And I might not go very far, and it's not important. What is important is to not force anything, and then to return. One arm is on top, and if you will switch, which is the arm on top, and do exactly the same. I want to come in and drop the elbows, and then I want to broaden across the collarbones. So these preparations, we refer to them in yoga therapy as flossing the nerves and extend. And so on this side, it might be that you get a little further, or this might be the side that is not as willing, and it's okay. We feel the stretch through the forearm muscles, and all of this is tugging on nerves, the 3 nerves that run from the neck through to the fingers. Okay? And shake it out. Take the arms wide and make it not about the reach of your wingspan, but about the lift of the rib cage. And then turn to one side so that we are sliding toward the outer edge of the foot. Inhale, stack the spine, and exhale to the other side. Let momentum help you. And we're going to do this 2 more times, and then we're going to come back and use our resistance band and be specific. So here, we're just waking up those muscles that provide us twisting with ease. We're not adding load per se. You can flex the feet, keep the toes pointing toward the ceiling. If the floor underneath your feet is too hard on your heels, turn sideways and put your heels on your mat. Great breath. Exhale. So now we're going to use our small loop on the opposite foot, hand to opposite foot. And if your loop has handles, then hold the handles. If you have that flat band tied in a knot, find what you can do. Regardless, we don't have to have a lot of gripping here. We don't. And from this upright position, we can play with, hey, maybe I can make my feet wider. It's all about how wide are my knees away from each other. And then this rotation to draw the elbow back and then release. Let's do that with repetition. I'm staying upright. There's no folding. I have the opposite arm to the foot. And then I'm drawing the elbow in. It's a little bit of bicep and tricep work, but I'm including external rotation. The palm turns up. As you get to know yourself here, if there are fingers or a wrist that just doesn't welcome this so much, make the range smaller. Don't add so much load. Relax how you use your hands. And I'm going to give us a new place just in case that needs to be for anyone. So just watch. If you didn't want to hold this way, even with a loose grip, you could put your hand inside and then you can just kind of rest your fingers. And if you're not quite sure if you'll like that, just try. Just notice, hey, is that the place for me? And I don't even need to grip, right? And if it slid off, it's going away from you. It's not going to hurt or pop back on you at all. So there's always the way. There's always a way. All right, now, regardless of how you're holding the loop, if you will, come and fold. The back is straight. The kickstand hand presses and propels you into that fold. And we want to draw the elbow, right, to keep broadening the collarbones, lengthening the spine, and come into this fold and twist. The primary attention is really to the other leg. I want to reach into that heel. I want to anchor that sitting bone and find how the lower back, that part of the spine responds, right? It lengthens. Inhale and come on up and catch hold of the handle or some aspect of that loop, and it's a loose grip now. You may decide that you need to start low, but I want to encourage you to lift to shoulder height best you can, and then the idea is to come toward the midline. I know that poses its own challenge. So decide how high you can be or how far you're going to go. But regardless, both arms get to help. And still, we want to reach into that other leg. We are turning on the axis of the spine. Let's do two more. This is a lot of core work. Does everybody notice that this is core work? Okay, nice. Bringing the feet together. So while you're sitting here and your feet are together, we are holding with this palms down, and we're aiming to the center of the sternum, dropping the shoulder blades, and then releasing. Okay. Toward the center of the sternum. Feels good. What we get out of it is to maintain this lift. But what if we were to try it with the palms up? So now I'm drawing the hands toward the navel instead, and there's a whole lot more freedom and lengthening through the shoulder. We don't have to have a huge grip. It could just be light. And with a light bend of the knees, we want to come into a fold. So any amount of this fold. If we would have done this right off the bat, right from the beginning, we might not have gone quite as far. And once we do the twist and the fold to the other side, we're going to return to this place. So this is a great comparison. This is now the square one we're going to compare. Inhale and come on up. And let's get to that. I want to keep it now on the second leg. I'm going to take the feet wide, the knees wide away from each other, and I want to reach across and hold with the hand that is opposite. I can hold the handle, I can slide the hand in and hold, put it on the back of the hand. Any of that will work, but from way up here, we're going to have external rotation. Some interesting things that we learn about ourselves trickle into all the new ways that we are taking on preparations in our yoga poses. For example, is it better for you to hold on to this contraction, or is it manageable to come and go. So some folks will need to control some aspect of safety by being still, and some folks will find that they really enjoy coming and going. All right, here we go. We're going to fold. And as we fold, that kickstand hand still does its job, and we continue to hold now. We're all together going to hold. Heart leads, long leg is reaching, the sitting bone that belongs to it is anchoring, long back of the neck. Very nice. And just breathe. So we can appreciate where our attention, our awareness can go when it is a held position. Take the time, inhale and come on up, place the hands then at the loop together and begin to explore, hey, I'm going to come toward the midline. It's not about having to go especially far. And then to explore being a little bit higher. Right. Exhaling to come to center, inhaling to come out of the twist, something that our yoga body tends to do. All right, wonderful. We're going to come to center. We're aiming yet again, palms up, both feet in, and we're drawing toward the navel. Right away, this broadening across the upper rib cage and a long neck we can appreciate. Keep a light bend of your knees and come into your fold. And I'd like to think that everybody finds that this comes with a little bit more ease, or they find themselves going that little bit further and with ease. Very good. Let's stay yet another breath. Keep reaching into the heels. The legs are responding to the band, but let's really ask them to do that. All right, and then release. So I mentioned that we want to balance the pushing and the pulling actions. And as we put the band aside, we're going to use either side of our mat. What I'm going to do is move my blocks out of the way. And I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. And make it so that I'm sitting with my feet wide. They are, so my mat runs lengthwise. I'm sitting with it lengthwise. And you will be able to find, let's have a little bit of variation. You'll be able to find what works for you. We're going to start simply. We're going to rotate to one side and do a push-up. But let's try it at first. So I'm going to leave my legs wide at the floor and I'm going to rotate to one side, and I can put my forearms down. My back leg stayed at the floor. And hey, how about that? We know this from a place of symmetry, but we can tolerate a whole lot more load this way because of where we left the load in our hips. Pretty interesting. Let's just do that on the other side. So come on up and over. And rest your arms, prop yourself up. This is a pose called Sphinx pose. You're going to get a great hip stretch out of it. And then inhale and come on up. I want to give us a way to back off, and I want to give us a way to do more. So if you want it to back off and say, you know, this is all I'm doing, my pelvis does roll with me, and then this is all I'm doing, then it doesn't have to be about being so low from the floor. If you're ready to do more, then the next place would be to come and put your hands down and find that push-up position and find, oh, all of a sudden we have 3 variations on what we can do. And interesting how they all have value. They all contribute to the aim of this preparation. Okay, and regardless, this last time, this 4th time, we're going to add one more layer. So wherever you're going to go with it, find your place and then think about the back leg and tell me if you can lift the back leg. Yes, nice. Okay, inhale, come on up. Exhale, rotate in the other direction, whether you put your elbows down, your hands down, just a little bit of this weight bearing. It doesn't have to be huge. Lift the back leg. And return. Excellent. As you come onto your back, The support of those folds will support your lumbar spine. As you set your head down, decide if you need that pillow, that lift, the extra fold of the blanket under your head. As you extend your legs, notice what having the blocks underneath the thighs will do. Right? They'll put a little traction into the deep hip flexors and release tension in the lower back. It's really nice. Rest your arms comfortably. Follow your intuition. Notice how your rib cage is opening up around the fold of the blanket. And just breathe. Now that your body has settled into the surface below you, begin to elongate your breath. Come back home to yourself. Bring your knees in. And roll to one side. Press up and sit. You have your blanket behind you. Come and sit. Take a moment to bring your hands to your heart and to acknowledge and seal your practice. May the lesson serve you off the mat and into your day. Namaste.